You're watching Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBear's Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge and the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Museum in Natchitoches. You can follow Sports Shorts Daily by going to our YouTube page, Sports Shorts, hosted by Ronnie, Rantz, and get our 15-minute weekday video. Welcome, everybody, to Sports Shorts, presented by LeBear's Casino. Ronnie Rantz here on this Monday morning. Joining me is Tommy Krysan, TK of Talking Sports Podcast, broadcasting from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge. And Tommy, it's been a minute since both LSU and Saints lost on the same weekend.
It's been quite a while. Rough day for the folks in Louisiana that pulled for those teams. A couple of Louisiana teams, Tulane, ULL got some wins, but LSU, man, I did not see that one coming at all. Saints, I kind of thought might have an issue. I know we're going to talk about all of that here on Sports Shorts Daily.
You know, when I heard Saturday morning, we did Sports Shorts Radio from 8 to 9:30 at All-Star Lanes. Myself, Chad Bluen, and Joel Davis will be doing a lot of our shows there for kind of like an LSU pregame. So we had to come on really early because, of course, we got a lot of great coverage on ESPN and 98.1 in Baton Rouge on pregame. And so it was after my show, but it was before kickoff where we discovered that that Stingley wasn't going to play. That he had suffered some sort of illness. A lot of reports came out initially that he had some seizures Friday night, an allergic reaction of some sort possibly. And your first reaction is to say, that's terrible. Oh, my God, we're playing a team that's going to probably throw the ball 60 times. And, okay, take Mississippi State and the points, right? Because LSU was a 17-point favorite. But I have a story for you, Tommy. My knee-jerk reaction to that has gone the other way the last couple of years. So 2 years ago, when LSU basketball was going through all of its stuff with Will Wade, and remember he got suspended at the end of the year, Waters, who was their best player in their team, Tremont Waters, remember before they played Tennessee, who was number one in the country at the PMAC, and LSU beat them, about 30 minutes before kickoff, an hour before kickoff, tip-off, we realized that Waters wasn't going to play, that he was sick. And so I think I was on the radio on Hester or one of the shows or something, the Sports Shorts Saturday morning. I went and quickly said, with Waters not playing, Tennessee's going to win this game. And so I put a big bet on Tennessee to win or cover or whatever. And, of course, LSU beat them. Fast forward a couple weeks later, Smart's not going to play against Vandy in the final regular season game. We find out 30 minutes before tip-off because of the suspension of the Will Wade situation. And I think LSU was a 16 or 18-point favorite over Vanderbilt. It was senior day. And I'm like, well, with, Smart's not playing, no Will Wade, it's going to be weird to beat back. I'm going to take Vandy to at least cover the Giants spread. And LSU drums Vandy by like 25. So I had that in the back of my head. So as soon as the Stingley stuff comes out and your first reaction is take Mississippi State in the points, I was like, but not so fast, my friend. I've been burned on that before. And so I didn't, Tommy. And instead, I didn't bet anything because I didn't feel good about it. And I didn't feel great about the 17. I should have bet it. Should have gone with my first gut reaction.
Sometimes those instincts can be pretty good, but, that's why they call it gambling. You win some, you lose some or whatever. When I learned that Stingley wasn't going to play, I picked LSU on my podcast, and I said, that's going to be okay. They're going to find a way. Somebody will step up. But I think that the lack of experience on the field for LSU really was the story. You had all those great guys last year. You got guys who may be great one day, but that inexperience. And then you got to give credit to Mike Leach at Mississippi State, Costello, who had some experience at Stanford. And they just, they sensed the blood in the water early in the game that, they'd have a chance to play with this team, and they got the job done, and LSU did.
I'll tell you what, Mike Leach, I've always been a fan of his. I've watched his 60 Minutes reports, the documentaries, and stuff like that. He's an interesting guy. He's well-rounded. He loves the Floribama. He loves going to Key West. He's kind of a chill guy. They call him the Pirate. He's obviously different. And so I was excited about him coming to the SEC, largely because I think it's great to have personalities and coaches that have personalities. And between him and Lane Kiffin and obviously now Deion Sanders, Mississippi State's going to be fun. I mean, the state of Mississippi is going to be fun to cover for college football. Be interested to see what Southern Miss comes up with as their next head coach. But I didn't think that throwing the ball 60, 70 times in the SEC was going to win. You know, that air raid attack that he and Mummy did at Kentucky back in the late 90s. I didn't think that would work today. Obviously, I was wrong.
Well, and here's a measuring stick for everybody, Ronnie. What does Mississippi State do going forward? They play Kentucky this coming week. If they throw for 400, 500, 600 yards, then, you know, maybe they're a real deal. What does LSU's defense do going forward? You know, they got Vanderbilt this week. If Vanderbilt throws for 600, LSU got a problem. So I think that you got to sit back and read what goes on going forward just to see, because I don't think LSU's as bad as they looked defensively the other day. A lot of new guys, new defensive coordinator, you know, and I don't care, Ronnie. They got these little preseason games, and Coach O pumps all that up. You can't simulate, as you know, Mississippi State. They got scholarship players. Their coach is paid to win. They came in and got the job done. LSU did.
You know, Coach O has done everything right up until this point as an LSU coach since being a head coach. And what I mean by that is he's got egg on his face. It was unnecessary, the shot he took at Dave Aranda last week when he said that this defense was better than at any point last year. He hadn't played a game yet. You didn't even have a spring. You're going against Myles Brennan, who's never, you know, been a starting quarterback. Yeah, your defense is looking good. Great. You're blitzing the hell out of people at practice, and you're having trouble picking it up probably. That Dave Aranda, who's, you know, he's the Zen master. He doesn't really say much. Granted, their personalities don't get along. You got a D-line, rah-rah, let's get after the quarterback. And then you got the guy who wants to sit back and read and react. And granted, the styles didn't jive. But Dave Aranda didn't deserve that shot, and he's the one that's having the last laugh. It's clear to me that LSU just absolutely did not practice zone defense in the secondary. They haven't gotten to it. And it makes sense. Without Stingley and all these freshmen, you probably didn't get to it, right? Because you would have tried something else at some point when you gave up over 300 yards in the first half and you gave up 300 yards in the second half. You would have changed it up for one drive, and LSU just did not.
No, they really didn't. And you're right. You know, when I watched Coach O's post-game press conference, I watched it on Zoom. Obviously, I wasn't there. You know, and I've seen a million press conferences like you have. He looked shell-shocked to me, like he could not believe what he just saw happen in Tiger Stadium. And, you know, I mean, I didn't see it coming, but I don't matter. Coach Osborne matters. So, you know, it may have been a little humbling experience, like you said, a little egg on the face, and you better get to work and, you know, come out against Vanderbilt on the road Saturday and show that they can be a lot better than they were the other day.
Obviously, we believe that the defense is going to be better. They're not going to run into an offense that's going to do the things that they did anyway the rest of the year. Or there's going to be teams that try. But, I mean, I don't know that. I was super impressed with Costello. He stood there. He reminded you of a Burrow in the sense that he had the confidence. He knew he stood in the pocket. He looked downfield. He didn't look at the rush. That was something Brennan did all day long. He knew he was going to get hit. He was decisive in his decision making. He had a bad play, but then the next play made a good play. So I was super impressed, and I think there's something. I mean, there's so much value in experience. Look at Burrow in year 2 versus year 1. Obviously, the scheme changed some, but still, there's that experience that Costello had that proved itself, especially on the road with no fans. Really, it didn't. You know, it wasn't a true LSU experience. On the other side, Myles Brennan. My reaction was, you waited 3-4 years for this. You know what I mean? Like, dude, go down slinging it, go down with your, you know, trying. Like, he looked to me like he dropped back the pass. He looked and saw one read, maybe two, and then he immediately started looking at the rush. The other thing that was obvious is he's not athletic. He's not a scrambler. He's not a runner. You know, you didn't think Joe Burrow was that much, but now you realize he really was. You realize how athletic Joe Burrow was, because Myles Brennan looked like, an old saying that Boots Garland used to say, the old speed coach, God rest his soul, one of my favorite humans on the planet. He used to say, "Hey, Rantz, you look like you're running in concrete pajamas out there," because that's what it looked like for Myles Brennan.
Well, I think he was very nervous, and that's understandable, okay? And then when he got out there and he realized it's a football game, they weren't up 14 nothing, 21 nothing. He realized it was a game. He got under pressure. And you're right, Ronnie. High school quarterbacks make that mistake of looking at the rush, especially when they're new. I couldn't believe that Brennan was looking at the rush as much as he was. Again, was that nervous? Was that, the inexperience? I think he'll be okay, but we got to see major improvement next week against Vanderbilt because he had a good game. I mean, the defense gave up all that yardage. That's why LSU lost. But I think Brennan has a lot of room for improvement. The question will be, does he make that improvement?
Well, it's going to be up to the offensive line because clearly they're not going to put the game on Myles Brennan's shoulders at this point. They are going to try to go into Nashville and pound the rock and get out of there with a win and right the ship before coming home. His team didn't help him. We had a number of drop passes early on when he needed it most. It was just a total collapse as a team. Receivers dropped balls. Brennan looked, mediocre to the second half. The offensive line didn't live up to its possibilities. It was bad. The only thing that looked good was the special teams. The two kickers did a nice job. The 30-year-old Zach Von Rosenberg looked fantastic.
Yeah, he did a great job. I expect that out of him. He's a good kid. I've come to know him here a little bit lately, so that was a good thing. And again, you got to turn the page. That game's over, done, not changing. Got to show marked improvement in many aspects of the game against Vanderbilt, and a lot of people will be paying close attention.
Let's talk a little Saints before we do so. Tell the folks about what's going on over at Tremonti's.
All right, hey, Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. The brisket's still $3.49 a pound. Give them an extra $20. They'll smoke it and slice it for you. They sold so much of it last week. A lot of the home gating packages and the game day specials that we promoted and we promoted on social media. Mike Tremonti and the staff want to thank everybody. It was a tremendous result for them. People just stepping it up and getting it done at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. They got the wine, they got the spirits, they got everything you need. Chairman's Reserve beef, and like they say, good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. You come to Tremonti's, you're going to get quality stuff each and every time. And again, brisket, $3.49 a pound. They're also big on this Bust Breast Cancer campaign that's going on for the next month. Go to Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, Facebook and Instagram. You'll get all the info.
Well, we were hoping that the Saints on Sunday were going to make LSU fans kind of forget about the debacle that was Saturday, one of the worst days. Although, before I move on to the Saints, let me say this, Tommy. If LSU is going to be a bust, do it during this year, during COVID. Because I said before the game, I didn't have the same juice for this LSU season, college football in general. It felt like a spring game at Tiger Stadium. So go ahead, and if you're going to have a down year, a bad year, let it be this year when kind of, quite frankly, nobody cares. But let's talk to some Saints. You didn't like the Saints in this game against the Packers. The Packers came in the first two games of the year, more points in the NFL than anybody, and they kept their foot on the throttle again last night.
Well, yeah, I watched a good bit of the Saints game last night, and I don't know a lot of things, Ronnie, but Drew Brees can't throw the ball down the field. I know that. I heard a great analogy on national radio today. He's become a singles hitter. He's not going to hit the double, the triple,
right. Tony
the home
Gwynn.
Yeah, he's Tony Gwynn now, okay, which is not bad,
right.
Okay, but doesn't work in the NFL because here's the thing. If you and I and everybody watching Sports Shorts Daily knows Brees can't throw the ball down the field, the Packers knew it. The Lions are going to know it next week in Detroit. So, it's almost like, come on, Sean Payton, you got to at least let us know he can throw it down the field.
Right.
And it's almost like he's not even looking downfield. Subconsciously, he knows he can't do it. And I'm not trying to pick on a Hall of Fame guy that won a Super Bowl and it was a Super Bowl MVP. However, it's obvious to everyone that he is a singles hitter now. He's not going for the big ball. He can't throw it over the top. And it got nothing to do with Michael Thomas not being there. Them other guys can get deep. It's just it's tough. Alvin Kamara, yeah, man, what a football player he is. And, some other guys did really good stuff last night. I thought Murray ran the ball hard. But when you got a quarterback that can't throw the ball down the field, Peyton Manning couldn't do it at the end of his career either. They were able to overcome it. I don't know if the Saints can overcome it.
They scored 30 points at home, and that should be enough to win. I was really surprised. I agree with you, Tommy. Like, take a shot, do some play action, and throw it, even if it's just to loosen up the defense a little bit. I'll say this: the Alvin Kamara night he had was even more impressive because he had a career night, over 190 total yards. That's the career high with 2 touchdowns. When everybody in the whole stadium, all 750 people that were in attendance, friends and family, literally that was the number. They knew he was going to get the football, and they still couldn't stop him. I mean, that just shows you how healthy and good Alvin Kamara is. But Drew Brees literally just run Harris, run 11 down the field as fast as he can and throw it, crow hop and throw it as far as you can. Or you know what? How about this? How about when you put 7 in the game, instead of running an RPO, which isn't an RPO because he's never given the ball to the running back. He always keeps it. How about he throws it down the field since he's your quarterback of the future and take a shot down the field? Like, the decision at the end of the game to put 7 in there at quarterback, and he fumbled and cost them the game. Did you see the defensive end, Tommy? The defensive end was in his face, staring at him 3 feet away, and he doesn't give the football to Murray or Kamara, whoever. I think it was Murray was the running back in at the time. Instead, he keeps it and fumbles it. Like, that's disappointing from a 31-year-old. Him and Zach Von Rosenberg, I think, are about the same age. He's not reading anything. He's in there and he's telling himself, I'm making $7-8 million a year. I got to make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive guys know what's going on, and you're right. He totally misread that RPO, and maybe he's not great at all that. I'm getting a note here from Mike Tremonti. Okay, all right. Anyway, no, so it's again, you're not fooling anybody at home. You're certainly not fooling the defense of the Green Bay Packers and those coaches that have worked hard and they have prepared. Okay, so it's hard to figure out how that happened. I guess it's the old thing. If it would have worked, they'd say, hey, great call, great play. But it didn't work, and you can't make mistakes in a tight game against a team like the Green Bay Packers. Real quickly, back to the Brees thing. Ronnie, I was even thinking last night, they need to let a wide receiver do like a 15-yard out and let Brees throw it all the way down the field like as if he thought he was running a post, where it's not going to be picked. But at least then he can show the team, I can throw it down there, But, I don't know. LSU's back on the drawing board. The Saints are certainly back to the drawing board as well. The Lions surprised everybody yesterday with a win over the Cardinals. Saints might have their work cut out on the road next week.
Yeah, no question. We thought playing in Detroit on October 4th at noon was a layup victory, but maybe not so the case. I'm a little disappointed in a couple. We talk about Drew Brees, but listen, like I want to keep reminding myself. I got to take a deep breath and remind myself he deserves this year. It's Drew Brees' decision when to take himself out of the lineup, when to retire. And I'm not saying he should take himself out of the lineup or retire right now. It's clear to me this is his last year and probably should be. Not that he couldn't even keep playing beyond this year, Tommy, but I don't want his legacy to get ruined, right? I don't want him to go out there and throw for 2,800 yards and more picks than touchdowns or be the 16th best quarterback in the NFL. I want Drew Brees to go out when he's a top 10 quarterback in the league, and a good team. And so that's why I want this for the Saints to right the ship and everything, because it's clear to me defensively, forget offense. It's clear to me the defense is not as good as we thought they were going to be. We thought they were going to be one of the top defenses in the league, and they're not. They're just not. 2 weeks in a row they've been thrashed. And they won the preseason game against Tom Brady and them before they started to figure it out. So bounce back game, big time. But like the Taysom Hill experiment, Tommy, they gave Taysom Hill a lot of money. They put a first-round tab on him to make sure that nobody else got him, and so that he could possibly be the quarterback in the future. You got Jameis Winston on the sideline, so you obviously have a quality backup. Where is Taysom Hill in this offense? Why is he not more of the offense, either receiving, blocking, running? They put him in there to run that gimmicky RPO that he doesn't really ever RPO, and he fumbles and loses the game, but he really wasn't a factor. And to me, he should be a factor, and at least, if anything, toss him the ball, let him throw it 50, 60 yards downfield a couple times a game.
Yeah, I agree with you on all of those points. It's kind of mind-boggling in a little bit of a way of how they have proceeded. Of course, they're 1-2. We know that, so it's easy to criticize. But it's up to Sean Payton to right this ship quickly this week, whether that's Taysom Hill, whether that's Drew Brees throwing it down the field, the defense tightening up a little bit. I mean, you got to become a better team real quick. 1-3 is not going to be a good thing at all for any NFL team, especially the Saints. And I think a lot of people are going to be using this game this Sunday in Detroit as a measuring stick to, can this team right the ship? Can they get it back on track? We'll wait to see.
Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, is the best player in the NFL, and he's been the best player in the NFL for the last 2 years. Aaron Rodgers this year is saying, hey, don't forget about me. The first 3 games, he has been unbelievable. And to see him, he's healthy, he's smiling, having a good time. He obviously connects with the head coach. I mean, he looks like the Aaron Rodgers of 5-6 years ago.
He does. I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, this guy is calm, cool, and collective. And kind of like Brady did in New England many years, he doesn't have a bunch of Pro Bowlers out there with him. We saw the stats last night about first-round picks that he's thrown TDs to. Had to face Breeze. Yeah, and that's the same guy that's out there that was taken by a different team. He was drafted by Jacksonville, I want to say. So, I mean, Rodgers just continues to get it done with the interchangeable parts around him, like Brady did for many years. Brady, Rodgers, certainly Brady's got more Super Bowls, but, I don't know many people that wouldn't want Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback.
How about Alan Lazard, undrafted wide receiver out of Iowa State, number 13 for the Packers last night. He was unbelievable. 6'5", 227 pounds, undrafted player, and he looks like, he's the perfect fit with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers.
Another thing I saw Lazard doing many times last night, he was good blocking too.
Yeah.
I mean, blocking downfield, blocking out in the flat. I mean, I noticed that. I know they talked about it once, but, like you, sometimes I see some things that everybody doesn't see. I don't always follow the ball, as they say. But that dude's quite the football player.
Yeah, undrafted free agent back in 2018. He's 6'5", 227. So that would have been a tight end, 15 years ago in the NFL. Instead, he's a wide receiver and pretty impressive. All right, pick tonight, Monday Night Football. Tell us about the game and who you like.
I like the Chiefs on the money line. They rarely do you see the Chiefs getting points. They might not ever get points again. I understand the Baltimore Ravens are a very good football team with a lot of talent, but it's kind of like the old thing. You never bet against Brady. Do you want to bet against Mahomes?
No.
Do you want to bet against Andy Reid? I think not. So, if you're comfortable with getting the 3.5 points, I think you go that route. I got a little bit on the money line to see if I think the Chiefs will win straight up, and we'll see what happens. Should be a good football game.
By the way, people, Tommy took Green Bay Packers plus 150 on the money line last night. You like them over the Saints. I just have a hard time taking a money line bet against the Saints or the LSU. The only exception being 2 years ago, I did a money line bet when Alabama came to Tiger Stadium. LSU, I think, was undefeated or had one loss. Remember? And then LSU got beat. That was Burrow's junior year, and they got beat 29-0 or whatever. I just felt like Alabama was the better team, and they were going to beat LSU. And so I bet out, but hardly ever do I ever go against LSU or the Saints of money line, because I don't want to watch the game and pull for the other team. And if you got money on it, I don't care if it's $25, you're always going to kind of pull for where your money is. So that's the deal.
Well, you're a big Saints fan. Of course, I grew up in New Orleans. I was a young kid when they were born, so to speak. So I've always paid attention to the Saints, but sometimes you got to manage your money and not worry about where your heart might be.
Don't forget Sports Shorts Daily. Give us a like on YouTube. Go to Sports Shorts hosted by Ronnie Rantz and subscribe to our page. And also like us on Facebook. Just go to Sports Shorts and type in there and like us on Facebook. And, of course, don't forget, Tommy, tell them about your podcast.
Talking Sports with TK. Going to have several podcasts this week, including one about the Major League Baseball playoffs. Check it out. It's available on all your major platforms. Talking Sports with TK, or follow me on social media, Tommy Krysan, Krysan. And, of course, Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, Facebook, Instagram. They're open Monday through Saturday. Lots of great stuff over here. Good meat ain't cheap, and cheap meat ain't good. You got to go to Tremonti's.
All right, Sports Shorts presented by LaBerge Casino. He's Tommy Krysan. We'll visit with him later in the week. I'm Ronnie Rantz. Have a good one, everybody. Like, share, and subscribe.
Thanks for watching Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBear's Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge and the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Museum in Natchitoches. Don't forget to follow Sports Shorts on Facebook, Twitter at sports_shorts, and check us out on Saturday mornings from 10 to noon at Sports Shorts Radio on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge.